Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Very, very warm welcome to all of you. I can see over 46, over 45 people in this morning's Japa Yagna. Firstly, on behalf of my leader, I thank all the Japa leads who came in and performed their service nicely. So, after finishing their Japa very nicely, attentively, now we shall hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Before that, I'll do a short kirtan and then move on to the today's verse. Jayo Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jayo Gandharvika Giridhari Gandharvika Giridhari Gaura Hari Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha Jayo Ananta Dev Lakshmi Narasimha Jayo Ananta Dev Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Bhakta Prahlad, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Patit Pavan Gurudev ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamutire Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Reading from first canto, chapter 8, titled The Passing Away of Bhishma Dev. We are in the 13th verse. If someone is free, they can repeat after me. Samsite atir Samsite atirate Pandu. Samsite
संस्थिते अतिरते पाण्डु
Prita Bala Prajavaduhu.
पृथा बाला प्रजावधूः
Yusmat Krite Bahun Kleshan.
युष्मात् कृते बहुन् क्लेशान्
Prapta Takovati Muhu.
प्राप्तात् त्वकुवते मुहुः.
Thank you,
हरे
Mataji.
कृष्ण प्रभु.
Hare Krishna. Word meaning, translation, and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So, we'll go to the translation. As far as my daughter-in-law Kunti is concerned, upon the great general Pandu's death, she became a widow with many children, and therefore she suffered greatly. And when you were grown up, she suffered a great deal also because of your actions. Purport is a very nice, small, lovely, sweet one. The sufferings of Kunti are doubly lamented. She suffered greatly because of her early widowhood and to get her minor children brought up in the royal family. And when her children were grown up, she continued to suffer because of her son's actions. So her sufferings continued. This means that she was destined to suffer by providence, and this one has to tolerate without being disturbed. Okay, so let's go on to the prayers. Before I uh, share a few points on this verse. Let me play to all the Vaishnavas, Guru Maharaj, and all the previous Acharyas. Omagyanatimirandasya Gnananjalashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Udapadakkamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrijatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dhinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, another wonderful verse. Samskrite ati tarate pandu prita bhala prajavatuhu usmat krite bahun klesham prapta tako vitmuhu. So what is the translation? It says, as far as my daughter-in-law Kunti is concerned, upon the great General Pandu's death, she became a widow with many children, and therefore she suffered greatly. And when you were grown up, she suffered a great deal also because of your actions. So before even I start, let me just say, I'm doing this for my purification of the heart, for glorification of the Lord, and for the pleasure of the wonderful devotees present here. I shall try to discuss a few points and share some things. Okay, so Hare Krishna. So we've been in a wonderful section, passing away of Bhishma Dev. Yesterday, Varaha Kripamaya Das also shared some wonderful points from the previous verse, Kashtam. So the subject is very clear. Bhishma Dev is trying to encourage, pacify the Pandavas. Okay. So before even I go to today's verse, just to understand the importance of how lucky we are that we discussed at least a verse from Bhagavatam. There is one, I'm sure we all had gone through this particular section, the same canto in the 7th chapter, 7th verse. Yasyam vai surya mananam Krishne paramapurushe bhaktir utpatyate pumsam shoka moha bhayapaha. What happens when you hear Srimad Bhagavatam? Simply by giving oral reception to Srimad Bhagavatam, the feeling of loving devotional service to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, sprouts up at once. What does it sprouts up? And it extinguishes what? Shoka, moha, Bhayapaha, that is lamentation, fire of lamentation, illusion, and fearfulness. Having known this, let's all attentively for the next 20 minutes hear nicely. So, coming back to today's verse, Bhishma Dev is pacifying, he's encouraging the Pandavas. He's telling what all had happened. Previous verse also he had said, Kashtam, aho kashtam, aho anyayam. So, what terrible sufferings and injustice have gone through, right? So, um, he's kind of reminding, he's telling the Pandavas that you have gone through so much of kashtam or injustice, miseries. Now, Bhishma Dev is also remembering Kunti Maharani, stating that you not only because of you, uh, uh, the mother Kunti also had to suffer. Not only you, even your mother had to suffer. Why? All the tribulations she had to go through, right? So, Srila Prabhupada always quotes one wonderful statement. One's greatness is estimated by one's ability to tolerate provoking situations. Beautiful statement. It's in Krishna book. Again, I'll repeat. One's greatness is estimated by one's ability to tolerate provoking situations, right? So, um, like let's take today's subject a little bit focus on the last line which Prabhupada said, tolerate without being disturbed. So tolerate is a subject we've taken for today, right? We face many trials, right? Tribulations in our life. Definitely not the same degree as Kunti Maharani. Huh? It's not so much reversals for us in our life. When it becomes difficult, whatever little situation, difficult situation comes, when it becomes a little difficult to overcome them on our own, uh, what do? We have to adapt this quality of tolerance. We have to showcase this quality, highlight this quality, remember this quality, and showcase it. Right? Sometimes people think toleration is a sign of weakness, right? But not. Only devotees know that in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, they are simply exemplify this quality. They are seen as sign of surrender, a sign of submissiveness, and most importantly, it's the will of the Lord. A great quality, right? Tolerances. So Bhishmadev is remembering Kunti Maharani and all that she went through, being a mother of Panchapandavas, right? So what do we do? How do we respond? Let's just, go through a bit on that line, on that aspect. How do we respond? Normally, we resent the situation. We either blame, wail, or moan. Cry, Krishna, why did you do this? First thing is cry. Why did you do this to me? Was I only person on the earth to punish me? We punch our fist, we get angry, we need to understand the situation, and we know that the reality cannot be changed. Who? One person who repented later, Shringi, we all know. After knowing that his father was gunlanded by a dead snake by Parikshit Maharaj, what did he do? He immediately cursed Parikshit Maharaj. He actually chastised him. He spoke very strong words unnecessarily, cursed him. What did he curse him? You all know, bitten by a snake bird. How could he even think of this, right? If he had thought a bit, he would have understood it was Lord's plan, right? So that we all can read and hear Srimad Bhagavatam, right? Shringi was totally irrational, not a matured way to handle the situation. We can see again from various examples of from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So what happened here? We will later on see what are all the examples of we can get from Srimad Bhagavatam and the wonderful devotees, and we will try to see how they face this situation. How did they tolerate? Right? Shringi resented the situation, right? He himself, later on, what did he do? He repented for his actions, right? We all know even how the previous past chapters, we see how Ashwatthama behaved, right? Right. So what really happens? Let's just see, just for example, suppose we are carrying a 20 kgs on our shoulder, right? So the moment we go into the BMW mode. BMW is not the car which I'm talking, blaming, mourning, and wailing, right? We go into that mode. It actually adds another 20 kgs on our shoulder. So what really is going to happen? immediately it's a burden on your shoulder, right? We should rather adapt the way how some great souls have done it. They have paved the path to overcome such situations in a very, very mature manner, right? So, as I said in the beginning, it's a misconception. Sometimes many people see tolerance as being very passive, right? Tolerate it, don't react, don't respond to the situation. No, tolerance means it's not that I'm trampled like your rag or wet cloth and thrown in corner. No, that is not tolerance. That's being passive. Tolerance means, please note, I got the beautiful meaning when I was hearing the class. Ability to keep small things small. I repeat again, ability to keep small things small and focus on big things. Okay, focus on the larger picture, right? I was telling you, we will go through some examples of great personalities. Okay. So when they were defamed, when they were criticized, Tirakskrita, right? What happens? Pure devotees of the Lord are the ones, who are criticized most in a way. You see what happened to Vidura, chastised by Duryodhana, even told, get out of this palace. What did he do? He didn't lament. He didn't go out under a tree and cry or moan or wail. He took this as an opportunity and went on a Tirtha Yatra. And what did he do? He heard Srimad Bhagavatam from Maitreya Muni. He took this as an opportunity and understood that is the will of Krishna, right? Being cheated, Vipralabha. So, best example I can think I could hear in this wonderful lecture is that Bali Maharaj. He knew that that small boy was Lord Vishnu himself. Rather, he was told by Shukracharya, right? Shukra, what did he say? Guru, be very careful. Do not give him anything, or what he said was, do not accept his proposal, right? Still, he saw this and he went on to give the three steps of the land. But even though he was feeling cheated, he did not react. He dealt in a very matured way, right? So we saw two cases. We'll see um, Shapa, that your curse, right? What, Chitraketu Maharaj was cursed, our own Parikshit Maharaj was cursed. But what did he do? Did he react? Now, remember here, Parikshit Maharaj was a Kshatriya. He could have reacted. He had all the powers to do it, but he did not. In fact, many of them were wondering, how is that being a Kshatriya? Is he passive here? No. He knew exactly what is that? To keep small things small and focus on the bigger picture in the mind. Knowing very well that this is the will of the providence and that is the will of Krishna. Let me align myself with the will of Krishna. How beautiful, right? Otherwise, we wouldn't have had, if we'd not tolerated, we all wouldn't have had Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, being disturbed. Yesterday we heard Varakripamaya Prabhu saying very nicely, though Pandavas were in forest and Duryodhana was in his palace, big palace, but he was not happy. He was disturbed, right? What did he do? Just to disturb the others, he had sent Durvasa Muni. And you all know the story. Whom did Pandavas take shelter of? Krishna once again, right? Just the last example. Somebody Hatha killed. Okay, who was killed? Remember Daditi Muni. When Vishnu told, why don't you go and approach Daditi Muni for what? To give the bones to make thunderbolt for Indra. Now, Daditi Muni knows that he is going to lose his body. He did not hesitate. He was willing to give his bones. These are some wonderful examples. Okay. But when you see all these wonderful examples, what is that common thread? What is that? All of them were willing and ready for what? To tolerate all the situations which came in their life so that they could keep the bigger picture and to align themselves with the will of Krishna. Why? Because it's pleasing to Krishna, right? There is this quality of tolerance which has to be practiced in conjunction rather with the higher principle, right? What is that higher? Going back to keep small things small, only then we can overcome. Our goals have to be fixed. Okay, that only then we can achieve what we can achieve. Now, Krishna also says in very famous verse in the Bhagavad Gita, right? Moment we said tolerance, it's all everybody's famous verse. Matras parstastu kaunteya shito shuna sukha dukkada agama payo nityas tam stati sava bharata. What does he say there? Non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress. They disappear in due course, and it's like Krishna gives the example of winter and summer. Okay, but what we should learn, most importantly, O son of Bharata, he says tolerate them without being disturbed. Okay, but Krishna says this, tolerate. But if you notice in the 11th chapter, he says tasmat tvam uttishta yasyo labhyasa, where he says nimitta matram bhava sarve sachi, right? In that particular verse, he says, get up and fight, prepare to fight and win the glory, right? Now, conquer your enemies, okay? All that he says, Krishna says, okay? And become my instrument. I've already decided to put them to death and things like that. Now, at one place, at the second chapter, Krishna says, you have to tolerate. And now Krishna is saying you have to fight. This is the beauty of Bhagavad Gita. We need to, unless we have guidance, unless we have a bona fide parampara, many people will not understand this. I again was lucky to go through one of the wonderful lectures. There I heard, and now here is where Prabhuji's and Mataji's, we will all be, if in case you all have a same doubt, why is Krishna saying previously tolerate, now is asking to fight? Now Krishna does not say, what is he saying? Does he say tolerate? No, actually in fact, he's reminding Pandavas, remember all the atrocities they have done to you. Okay. Now he's telling Arjuna, this is the call of the duty. What is the duty? To ensure dharma is there. If it is adharmic, you have to kill all your relatives. Now, what is he asking him to tolerate? He's asking to tolerate the distress associated with it and to continue your duty. How very beautiful, right? So he's asking him to fight, but there will be some distress because it's your own relatives, guru, so many people are there. So there you tolerate the distress, okay? But the call of the duty, continue to do that. Kill everyone because they are adharmic. So again, I re-emphasize that, as we said in the beginning, tolerate does not mean passive, right? All these events, we need to remember whenever we go through like this, keep small things small, okay? And this small thing should not consume our consciousness, and we forget what are we doing all this for? Whom are we doing all this for? Why? Just all these activities is, end of the day, is to please Krishna. Please whatever his will was, right? If Krishna is saying fight, he has to fight, right? Right? See, what does he say in the conclusion? Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam raja aham tavam sarva papebhya mokshasayami ma suchaha. Right? I do not fear. I shall deliver you from sinful reactions. Why are we worried when he is saying this, right? So what did Krishna do? Was brought Arjuna to this platform in the sense that Arjuna was put into this kind of moha, so that he could kind of send all of us a wonderful message. Brought to this platform, he no longer did his duty as an impetus because he was supposed to fight. No, it was done as an impetus to please Krishna. That's a huge difference, the transformation which happened to Arjuna, right? So what a beautiful thing, like we have learned. This is what we need to understand. Tolerate means to align ourselves in conjunction with the higher principle, especially for a devotee to align with the Lord's plan and simply to please Krishna, right? So Gaurang Prabhu actually even goes ahead and gives 3 levels of tolerance. I thought I'll just mention quickly. So first level, exactly we heard Mata's Prashtastu Kaunteya, just physical pains and pleasures, please tolerate. The second level, one of the most wonderful prayers by Lord Brahma. What does he say? I will patiently suffer all the misdeeds. All the misdeeds, that is all the reactions which I have performed or I have committed. So that's a second level of tolerance. The third, what we can call it as pinnacle of all the tolerance. Who exactly in this verse he says, which Bhishma Dev is referring to, exhibited by Mother Kunti Maharani. So that is what Bhishma Dev is so fondly remembering here, right? How nicely she prays. For what? We all also pray. What is Kunti Maharani praying? Give me more sufferings. Can you even imagine? Right? She knows that she needs to see is in conjunction of the higher principles. She always gets Krishna's darshan. Now, how beautiful, right? By ensuring she gets Krishna's darshan, she will not get darshan of the material world, right? So beautiful. That's why it's called the pinnacle of uh, uh, tolerance. Now, I heard in a lecture that even, we keep, most of us, what do we keep earning for or longing for is our sanmana, respect. Now, there it says it should be considered as poison. So every time somebody is praising you, can you believe, oh, it's poison for me? Can we do that? No, we all very happy. Couple of feet up we'll go. But it is poison for spiritual life. And what is to be considered as nectar? Here, this you will be surprised. Criticism, okay, to be considered as nectar. However niche, that rather, however lower the person, lowest form, designation, position, if it comes also, you should consider it as, nectar flowing. That's how Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was keep saying, you should keep all those people close to you, whoever near you, whoever criticizes you. So in that lecture, I also heard one of the poets were saying that you should consider him as them, all of them as your friends. So the point is that we need to tolerate criticism and praise that comes through. Okay, so we can see from the life of Srila Prabhupada itself, right? How he had upheld this principle of keeping small things small and focus on the higher principles. Right? Actually, when Srila Prabhupada went to the West, most of the people didn't know how to treat him also, right? I mean, Westerners, the first set of people whom he met were all drug addicts and so many things, right? Prabhupada simply tolerated all that. Why? Because he had a higher principle of spreading Krishna consciousness to all. In fact, when he had approached that lady, right? Sumitra Morarji, right? Whom Srila Prabhupada was asking for the approval to be on the vessel, right? To go to the West. She said, you are old man. Why you want to go there? It's not a nice place. Everything she was advising. She even said, if you want to share Bhagavatam, come home. Every day I will recite, I will hear your Srimad Bhagavatam. But Srila Prabhupada was not interested in this ritualistic recitation, right? He wanted to tolerate all the insults, all the rejection. I mean, the rejections, sometimes if you read, is like so difficult. He was asking for money, he was not get. He was even asked, Morarji, send one, Mridanga. They started some kirtan. So many things initially he did not get. Unlike now, we have servants, we have a team coming along with the Maharaj. Whenever we see Prabhupada was all alone, right? He just tolerated everything. Why? Simply because he was trying to, all the rejections, all the initial troubles, he simply tolerated because keeping small things small, bigger picture of wanting to fulfill the orders of his spiritual master. So beautiful. That's why Radhanath Swami Maharaj always says he left Vrindavan to give Vrindavan all over the world, right? And when one of the devotee was telling Srila Prabhupada, yes, this satsang is great, the association is very nice, but sometimes I cannot work with so many people. Simply, Srila Prabhupada said one line for him: you have to tolerate the intolerable. That is the only way you can purify your heart. If you go outside, you will be kicked, right? So how can we ever forget our dear Guru Maharaj, right? Any time you ask him how's he is always smiling. I'm doing fine. Yes, a few organs are replaced, exchanged, like that. So I mean, how can anyone with so much bodily discomforts? We should not be discussing this subject, but I'm just telling it for the sake of it. Uh, Even recently I heard from one of the devotee when I called, they told that for the opening ceremony, he came, though this is time for rest, he came to the TVOP building, sat down only to see one drama because there was an announcement. He simply loves drama. I mean, how awesome he is, right? Um, Maybe this place also like to pay my gratitude to all the senior leader and consider myself most fortunate to be his disciple. Anyway, back to the subject. So far, we have discussed toleration? How do we, it's more like a problem. Now, somebody might ask a question, how do I develop tolerance, right? So we'll see how we can do. Very interesting, point I got from this lecture. Now, how can we understand, or how can we see in conjunction with the higher principle of aligning ourselves with Krishna, especially in this age of Kali? Now, here is the point. Srila Rupa Goswami in his Padyavali is mentioned, in this age of Kali, if you do not want to be troubled by Kali Yuga, what should you do? Now, hear this from this point, Prabhuji's and Mataji's. He says, you should sing the glories of son of Mother Yashoda. Why? Because it is so sweet. You can sail through all these provoking situations and all the tribulations that come upon us, right? How Krishna is cool as Chandan, right? We can develop all the coolness and we can easily sail through these tribulations. Otherwise, so much energy will be used and so much of your time, all those, everywhere you will be reacting to all those provoking situations. See, what is the importance? This Srila Rupa Goswami said this in Padyavali. So please sing Vaishnava songs in your home daily. All the Vaishnava bhajans has to be sung. When you start singing, when you start enjoying, you naturally will develop that, is what he says. Now, we all heard a lot today about what's 44. So I'll quickly wind up in the next 30 seconds. We all heard a lot about tolerance, but what should be intolerance toward? How we all as Vaishnavas should be intolerant towards? Again, Srila Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he's given 64 principles of devotional service. In that 19th or 20th is an instruction. He says we should never hear blasphemy of a devotee. We should immediately leave the place. In fact, it's so strong that you have to say, cut the tongue, but we cannot do that, right? We should just immediately leave the place because we should not hear any blasphemy of a devotee. Of course, for a pure devotee, even a moment of separation from Krishna is intolerable, right? In that lecture, I was hearing Bilva Mangal Thakur. Krishna used to hold the hand and go. Whenever he left, he used to say, Krishna, you may leave my hand, however, you cannot leave my heart. I have tied you in a rope. Okay, this is how pure devotees enjoy, and they just can't they cannot tolerate even a minute's separation. We hear from Sishtashtakam, right? Virahe nami. So long it looks for me. Okay, so quickly I'll summarize. We heard what is tolerance, how to we learned the definition of it, and we also learned it's not passive, keeping small things small, focusing on the bigger picture. We also learned tolerance has to be practiced with the injection of what? Pleasing Krishna. And we also know what Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita as tolerance. And nicely, it is not contradictory. It clearly he mentioned in two places what we should tolerate. And we also, a few lines we learned about how Srila Prabhupada tolerated all his tribulations. And we learned how to overcome tolerance and what we need to do to be intolerant to. What are the things we should be intolerant to? Otherwise, it was a very small verse, so I somehow felt it was a nice word and we should focus on that. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Patit Pavan Gurudev ki jai, Nithai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Please, if I've said something which is wrong, please feel free to correct me, and I would be happy if you can all add comments to this. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam. Quickly, because it's already 6:46. Anyone has got any comments? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Yes, Prabhu.
ಪ್ರಭು ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತು, ಟಾಲರೇಟ್ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ನನಗೆ ಯಾವಾಗ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ ಪ್ರಭುಪಾದ ಲೀಲಾಮೃತ ಓದುವಾಗ ಅಥವಾ ಪ್ರಭುಪಾದ ಅಂತ ಇದು ಲೆಕ್ಚರ್ಸ್ ಕೇಳುವಾಗ ಅವರೆಷ್ಟು ಟಾಲರೇಟ್ ಆಗಿದ್ರು. ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ನಾವು ಟಾಲರೇಟ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರಭುಪಾದ ಲೀಲಾಮೃತ ಓದಿದ್ರೆ ಸಾಕು ಪ್ರಭು. ನಮ್ಗೆ ಅದು ತುಂಬಾ ಲೆಸನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ.
Yes, Prabhu.
ತುಂಬಾ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರಭು. ನೀವು ಅವಾಗ ಪ್ರಭು ಕೋಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರಭು. ಹರೇ ಕೃಷ್ಣ.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಪ್ರಭು. ಇನ್ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆ ಬುಕ್ನ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ, ರಾತ್ರಿ ಮಲ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕೆ ಮುಂಚೆ ಒಂದು 5 ಪೇಜ್ ಆದರೂ ಓದಿ. ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಹಾಟ್ ಟಿಯರ್ಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಫ್ಲೋ ಯುವರ್ ಐಸ್. ಐ ಮೀನ್ ದ ವೇ ಹೀಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಟು ಗೋ ಥ್ರೂ ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್. ನಮಗೆ ಆವಾಗಲೇ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಎಷ್ಟು ನಾವು ಲಕ್ಕಿ ಈ ಪರಂಪರೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋದು. ಅಂಥ ಒಂದು ಆಚಾರ್ಯ, ಫೌಂಡರ್ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ, ಅಂಥ ಒಂದು ಅವರ ಡಿಸೈಪಲ್ಸ್ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ನಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ಭಾಗ್ಯನೇ ಇದೆ, ನಮಗೆ ಅವರ ಡಿಸೈಪಲ್ ಆಗೋಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತ, ಅವ್ರ ಗ್ರ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಸನ್ ಆಗೋಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತ ನಮಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ ಪ್ರಭು. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ವೆರಿ ಮಚ್ ಫಾರ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟಿಂಗ್ ಔಟ್ ದಟ್ ಪ್ರಭು.
ಹರೇ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಪ್ರಭು.
ಪ್ರತಿಭಾ ಮಾತಾಜಿ, ಹರಿ ಬೋಲ್, ಹರೇ ಕೃಷ್ಣ. ಹೇಳಿ.
ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಶೃಂಗಿ ತಪ್ಪು ಮಾಡಿದ ಹೌದು ಹೇಳಿ, ಆದ್ರು ಪ್ರಭು ಪರೀಕ್ಷಿತ್ ಮಹಾರಾಜು ತಪ್ಪಿತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲಿ.
ಹಾ ಮಾತಾಜಿ, ಬಟ್ ಅವರು ಒಂದು ಕ್ಷತ್ರಿಯನಾಗಿ
ಮುನಿಯೊಟ್ಟಿಗಾಗಿ ಮಿಸ್ಬಿಹೇವ್ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದಿತ್ತಲ್ಲ.
ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾತಾಜಿ, ಬಟ್ ಅಗೇನ್ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಅದೇ ಲಾರ್ಜರ್ ಪಿಕ್ಚರ್ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ವಿಲ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಲಾರ್ಡ್ ಈ ತರ ಆಗಿ ಅವನಿಗೊಂದು ಖರ್ಚು ಬರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಬಟ್ ಅದೇ ಹೇಳಿದ್ನಲ್ಲ, ಅವರು ಅಷ್ಟು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟು ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ ಮಾತಾಜಿ. ಶೃಂಗಿ he himself repented, his father also repented, because ಇವರಂತ otherwise he is not a person known for his deeds. He is such a great devotee. ರಾಜನ ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಆಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ರಾಜ ಎಲ್ಲಾನೇ ತ್ಯಜಿಸಿ he took, he kind of left everything, renounced and went to what happens after that to here. So ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್, ಬಟ್ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮೇನ್ ಅರ್ಥ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಇವ್ರು ಅಷ್ಟು ರಿಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಮತ್ತೆ ಇವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕ್ಷತ್ರಿಯಗೆ ಪವರ್ ಇತ್ತು. ಈ ಕುಡ್ ಈಸಿಲಿ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡಲ್ ದಟ್ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್. ಈ ಕುಡ್ ಕೌಂಟರ್ ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟೆಡ್, ಬಟ್ he didn't do it. That was the main point I wanted to focus on. I hope it's a right answer, Prabhu, if you can help me.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Cholungu. Hare Krishna. Tell me, Bopalak Prabhu.
In this context, I would like to add something, Prabhuji, if it is beneficial for all. Many times we also fall in the same situation, like Ringi and Varadaraj. At home also, many situations come in our daily life. For that, we get so much angry. That anger is not at all required. Simply, as you said, the most theme of today's subject was tolerance. So if we can practice this tolerance, then most of the problems will not arise. We need not react. The most lesson for us is tolerance and reaction. If we tolerate and do not react, we can solve many problems within ourselves. If leave alone solving the problems of others, we can solve problems within us. So by solving within us, then we can give a larger aspect to the others. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we need to follow what Rupa Goswami has said in Padyavali. We should start singing the Vaishnava bhajans, glorifying the Lord. How wonderfully all the previous acharyas have written the songs and sung by our senior Vaishnavas. We should start learning to hear them. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. What do you?
Thank you, Prabhu. It was a nice class. I joined little late because of my morning services. So the topic is very nice, the tolerance. And so being devotees, we chanting 16 rounds and following 4 regulator principles. This all will help us to tolerate. So separately, we don't have to take any training. However, now and then we need to attend the seminars and learn the art of tolerance and obedience. Then slowly, we can mold ourselves. Like Kunti Maharani, nobody would ask the difficulties, but Kunti Maharani is asking difficulties, but Krishna is not giving further, because whatever required for her purification, he has supplied that. And later, if you want also, Krishna does not give. Now I have given you a larger kingdom worldwide, you enjoy. Krishna knows that they cannot enjoy without him. So ruling in the name of Krishna, just like Bharat Maharaj, means Ram Lakshmana Bharat, that Bharata, he put the padukas on the Simhasan of Lord Ram. And as soon as Lord Ram is ruling, and he became a subordinate, he ruled like that. So these are the various kinds of obedience and tolerance. we can learn. In your lecture also, I heard so many things. Prabhupada, how he tolerated the hippies and made them happy. And Pratibha Mataji also asked one question. So it is actually, as you rightly said, it's a Lord's will. Actually, Parikshit Maharaj is a great devotee of the Lord. One is Sukadeva Goswami is Brahmarata. Parikshit Maharaj is Vishnurata. So they have a wonderful loving exchange. But to take place that, then this incident has to take place. So it is all, interlinked one to one. Otherwise, the Leela will not happen. And Krishna cannot come into the womb of Uttara. So many things. So I would request Pratibha Mataji to kindly read Srimad Bhagavatam first canto under guidance. Then it will help you a lot. Okay, so overall it's a very nice class, Prabhu. Thank you very much. So I stop the recording here.
Yes.
Over to you, Prabhu.